So, welcome to day 4 of our acceptance meditations. Now, you might have started to notice some resistance in the mind to certain thoughts or feelings or bodily sensations, and that's completely okay. On the other hand, maybe you haven't, and that's completely okay too. Us OCDers, we do tend to resist a lot of thoughts and bodily sensations because they feel uncomfortable to us. And in a lot of ways, they can feel real, or they can feel like a representation of who we really are. And that's why, if you can think back to earlier meditations, one of the biggest steps in OCD recovery is beginning to lower our resistance to the idea that the sensations we're experiencing aren't a representation of us, but instead just a byproduct of living with OCD, that they're simply just symptoms. And the reality is that thoughts are just thoughts. They're random bits of information that bubble up in the brain based on our wiring, and they only mean something when we assign meaning to them. And maybe you've been assigning a negative meaning to certain thoughts for a while now, and that's completely okay. I did the exact same thing. Many of us OCDers assign negative meaning when we have these experiences. But today, as we ask our usual question, what am I resisting? We'll give space to allow thoughts and emotions to surface, even if they're not particularly pleasant. Simply sitting with these thoughts and feelings without attempting to push them away actually helps reframe our relationship with them. And over time, this process teaches our brain to relate to these thoughts and emotions in a more balanced and accepting manner. So nothing more to do with that now. As always, I will be guiding you through today's meditation. All you need to do is to sit or lie down, take a moment to get comfortable, and starting in the usual way with the eyes open, a nice soft focus, not really looking at any one thing in particular, as you begin with some deep breaths, breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. And with the next out breath, closing the eyelids, allowing the breath to return to its natural rhythm as you just settle into the space around you, becoming more aware of the sounds, not resisting or trying to push them away. And now gently bringing the attention back to the body as you begin to notice how the body is feeling right now. Just taking the time to, as always, scan down from the top of the head, down to your toes. No need to pass judgment, no need to change anything. Just identifying those areas of comfort, areas of discomfort, and starting to get a sense of the general mood right now. Now remembering your why for doing this exercise today, and maybe even starting to embrace the idea of accepting everything, accepting everyone, accepting thoughts, bodily sensations, just momentarily giving up resistance. And recognizing that that benefits not only ourselves, but those around us and those in our lives. And now let's gently shift the focus to the breath and to the rising and falling sensation. No need to judge or change the pattern of breathing, just becoming more familiar with it, allowing whatever thoughts or sensations to bubble up and knowing that that is completely normal. So just continuing to follow the breath. You can count the breaths if you'd like, 1 on the inhale, 2 on the exhale, up to 10. You don't have to, just tapping into your breath and asking yourself that question. So, who or what are you resisting in life right now? And giving that question space to bubble up different thoughts or sensations, and remembering to allow whatever is to sit with you without trying to suppress or push it away. It can be with us, and that's completely okay too. So maybe the thoughts or feelings that are arising are very predictable, or maybe it's a surprise. Maybe you're feeling a bit uncomfortable. Whatever the case, just knowing that you're not alone, and it's okay to hold space for all thoughts and sensations to arise, recognizing that with time, they do pass like clouds in the sky. And so, in that way, gently refocusing on your breath. And with the next out breath, just for a moment, letting go of any focus on the breath and just letting the mind do whatever it wants to do. So if it wants to think, letting it think. If it wants to feel, letting it feel. And then just gently bringing your attention back to the body, into the physical senses as you start to become more aware of the weight of the body, the the different sensations, the contact, any sounds, any smells. And in your own time, you can just gently open your eyes again. So let's take a moment to pause and reflect on how we intend to maintain this sense of awareness throughout the day. It's about tuning in to recognize when we're resisting certain thoughts, emotions, or situations, those familiar patterns that tend to reoccur day in and day out. And for us OCDers, recognizing that in a lot of ways, OCD works in a very predictable, cyclical nature, regardless of the content. And you might be starting to connect some of those dots. And for example, are you resisting the diagnosis of OCD? Are you perhaps resisting the idea that OCD recovery is a journey and not a destination, and that's okay? Is there a belief system that you're holding on to that's creating resistance towards a pattern of thoughts or of bodily sensations or feelings? These entrenched patterns of resistance can block our ability to experience acceptance, but by staying mindful and observant of these patterns, we can begin to unravel them and make space for acceptance to naturally grow, because it is an inherent part of the mind. So we want to remember this as you go into your day, but for now, please just congratulate yourself for sitting with your brain and teaching it to create just a little more space between you and OCD. And I look forward to speaking to you in day 5.